Well, hello everybody. It's been a while since I've uploaded a video of my N-scale trains, and uh, quite a few months, and it's kind of sad because one of the things I was doing in presenting this type of layout, this shelf layout, is the kind of layout you can put together within a few weeks, unlike the basement type layouts that are more of an empire that could take you months or years to put together. This should only take you a few weeks, and yet I hadn't posted a video in, I don't know, months, maybe close to a year now. So I want to give you kind of an update. It's more of a status than an update because not much has happened. So let's talk about that, and I'll show you a little closer what's happening here. Now, the difficulties were when we last got together, moving the camera around on you. So the difficulties have been, since we last posted a video, we had a video on ballasting the track, and that has created many problems. But the real issue has been life happens, and life has come at me in such a way, not so terribly bad, but in such a busy way that I just hadn't worked on trains or many of my other hobbies. But most of the time I've been doing family type things and work, and just hadn't had the time. And you know how that is. We do things for a season and we get away from it, and I just been away for way too long from my N-scale trains, and to be honest, I'm really not even back into it yet. But I wanted to come and post a video because you're looking for it. I know you've seen several of my videos building this up and probably wanted to know what happened to this railroad. And this is what happened. The last we got together, we were ballasting the track, and that has been difficult. But prior to the ballast, I had run the trains and the engine ran smooth throughout the whole layout. Which, if you're not familiar, the layout is a shelf layout. It's not a continuous run. It's simply where I have a few buildings. This track in the back is really kind of a storage track, representing a spur off the main line, and a place for cars to be stored, and two, they can be run into the industry that I have over here, given plenty of operational opportunity. And then I've checked out, put the electronic components in, wired it up, and ran the engine and over all the track, and it was smooth, it was fine, it was beautiful. And then I went ahead and put the ballast in, and really the ballast was what was going on. And then I would get into checking the operations again, and then little by little can start working on scenery. Because right now, as you see, other than some of the industry and the buildings in there and a few palm trees, there's not much detail for scenery, because I hadn't got to that step yet. But the beautiful thing is, once you get your track laid, wired, ballasted, you can begin running trains and enjoying them and operating. No matter how many months it takes you to do scenery, you can enjoy doing it, and then spend time once in a while taking a break excuse me, and just operating trains, and for fun, and then get back in and get into the next step of scenery. But what happened here after ballast is the struggles of, now the engine is kind of in a state where it won't run smooth. In fact, I wish I could just run it for you so you can see it running, but a lot of the ballast has gotten in the rails, and I'm having to clean it. And little by little, I've cleaned it up, and I'm able to run you know, a few feet, but not the whole layout, because it's quite a bit of work to get any of the grit out of the rails that's causing continuity and the engine wheels from connecting. And so I'm having a lot of stutter and pausing, hiccuping that I didn't really want to have. And then the other thing is, I was having trouble with the switches. So, you know, when you put the ballast down, it's not just ballast, and then you lay the glue down. I think the ballast wasn't so much the trouble as putting the glue down. So I'm having to clean up the glue and any other grit, and that's been some of the things that I've been working on in order to get the trains to run well. And around the switch points is one of the troubles I've had. So one by one, I got this switch point fine, that one's fine, and I got most of my switches where there's no problem. However, this switch here, which connects the industry to my storage track, has been problematic. In fact, I don't know what to do. I've cleaned it and spent a lot of time working on this switch point, and it's not so much that it's gummed up or anything like that. It no longer allows the engine to pass over and without derailing. I've messed with it. I got to the point now where I think I've messed with it too much, and maybe got where the materials are flexing more or less, or bent, or, you know, they're not where they could be. And what can I say? I cannot seem to get that switch to operate the way it and function the way it should. And so thought about, wow, I have to replace that switch. And it's kind of ironic. That was originally going to be a curve switch, which I have a curve switch here, and that was supposed to be a curve switch there, but they were out of stock for over a year, and I finally gave up and said, okay, I'll put a straight switch there in instead of a curve switch. Maybe I should go back and see if those curve switches are available, because it's kind of awkward having it straight. I had to change things around to make that straight work. And but when I mean work functionally for the layout plan, but now it's not working functionally for operations, where the cars and the engine can go over that switch without derailing, and half the engine wants to go down one track and the other half wants to go the other way. And even if I hold it with my finger as it's going over, it still kind of derails. And I'm so frustrated about it, I don't know, you know, I don't know what the next step is. I think before I replace it and buy a new one, I probably could pull this one out completely, and then, because I don't have it in video at the moment, I could pull it out completely and then possibly clean it up and try to get it back, rework it and try to get it back into a normal shape and function, and then put it back on the layout and see if it then will function in correctly. But that's where I'm at, and to be honest with you, I want to post a video for the status so you know where I'm going with this and why I hadn't been posting for so many months. But it's so nice to have the layout. I just been doing other things with my life and not spending the time with the trains and the hobby I love. So hopefully next time you hear from me, it'll be good news and we can see some trains actually running, and then in the future see some updates to the scenery, and then after that even watch some trains performing some sort of schedule and operation. And really to present a layout that's simple and should be quick to build. But the whole thing of putting ballast down was unfamiliar to me and problematic. And you might be able to see here where, I don't know how good the camera can catch, but you know, there's some debris and grit and even some cleaning materials between the rails that need to be pulled and pinched and maybe with tweezers or something to get it all cleaned out. That's one thing about N scale. It is a small scale and takes quite a bit of effort to make sure everything is free. Now everything is running well, and really that's my suggestion on any layout you have, that consideration for well-running trains makes a huge difference in the enjoyment of the hobby. Spend the time with the layout of the rails and the continuity of the electricity and everything to be just right up front, so when operation comes, you're not having to deal with and it's not just the rails. It's one of the things I'm doing is changing out all of the trucks or the wheels to the metal type and getting rid of any of the plastic and making sure they're the right size, so all of the cars run without a hitch. All the couplers are operating perfectly. And when you have a small layout and you don't have a lot of cars, you don't have hundreds of cars, you only have a dozen or so, or a few dozen, it's a little easier to get a car that is deemed worthy to be put on the layout, and you can do it one by one instead of just taking all your new cars and putting them out on there straight up and then dealing with problems all the time. So really, the cars I have, ever since I changed the wheels out to the metal ones, some of them I bought with metal ones and run fine from the begin with. When I say trouble with the plastic ones, the kind of, sometimes some people call them the pizza cutter type, they're extra large in the sense that on this code of track, gosh, I'm sorry, I can't remember what code it is. Code, what's it? I think most people use code, well, I get confused between my HO, my O, and my N scale. I think this was code 55, and I went to the more natural size, so it's the smaller code rail, so the rail height is minimal. Gives a nicer presentation, but sometimes it's harder to get these codes to be reliable. So effort has to be made for that. And so, before I start blaming it on just the process of ballasting and putting adhesive down, thought is some of the blame goes into the fact that I'm using the more natural looking and the lighter code rail, because it's not mainline, it's a branch line, and but it does cause a little bit more work and something to be aware of. If you're new to modeling, you may want to start with the typical codes rather than the smaller ones. So anyway, I wanted to get this video out so people didn't think I forgot or went off to another realm of life or a different phase of life. No, I'm still model railroading. I just have gotten away from it for a season and need to get back into it. So thanks for watching. Put your comments below if you have some or questions. I go out of my way to, I'm not trying to ask for new subscribers, and I'm not making money. I don't post any advertisements, so I go out of my way to make sure no advertisements are on it. I hope you enjoy that. If you're seeing advertisements, I don't know why, because I've monetized it to not show any ads, so I don't receive any money. It's not my purpose. It's a hobby for me. It's a hobby of exchanging ideas with other hobbyists, and so I never, it's the first time we even talked about this topic, but I never talk about subscriptions or alerts or bells or any of that stuff. I mean, that's, to me, we're about trains, and that's what I'm doing. I'm not trying to build a viewership or something of that sort. On the other hand, I got to say, of the videos I put together, the N-scale trains gets a lot of views. People are into this hobby, and they love this scale, as I do too. I do O-scale, as you know, as well as N-scale, and there's a place for both of them in my house, and the reason why I love both scales for different reasons. So anyway, once again, thanks for watching, and we'll catch you next time.